Kathy. All right. Josh.
I'm here.
All right. Amber.
Here.
And myself, Jason. So that's quorum. All right. Good evening, everybody. So we are here tonight for one purpose only, the Capital North Historic District Expansion Public Hearing. So due to some miscommunications, there are no other agenda items this evening. This is the sole intent of tonight's meeting. So the purpose of the public hearing is to solicit comments from the public and address any comments, concerns, issues that anybody may have. So I guess at this time, if there's anybody out there from the public who wishes to speak, you are encouraged to do so.
Chair, if I may, this is
Yeah.
Charles, Planning and Development Director. I'd just like to give a real quick update on what's going on here for members of the public. And first of all, I do have to apologize. I am double teaming two public meetings. One's down in South Cheyenne on Walterscheid, so that's why I'm at Rossman Elementary School. But the purpose of this public hearing for the public's benefit, for the public's benefit, is to allow them to make comments regarding the proposed historic district designation for the Capital North expansion. Back in 2019, we did go through the motions and we did adopt an ordinance. We approved an ordinance, the council did, to expand the historic district to include this area. Upon review of the adoption processes, it was realized that there were several mistakes that were made in notice and some of the other procedural steps that were necessary. So we are using this to re-adopt that ordinance and reapprove the expansion. Regarding historic districts, one of the main benefits of a historic district is it gives your neighborhood a title. Within that neighborhood, there are different structures, and they can either be classified as a contributing structure or one that means it supports the character, that architectural style of the neighborhood, or it's a non-contributing structure, which means it doesn't support the character of the neighborhood. When you have a historic district, it opens up the property for the use of tax credits for income producing property. So if you have a property that's income producing, you're able to get additional tax credits of up to 20% in a historic district. And it also gives you a sense of place, and it allows for you to recognize that other neighbors and other properties are encouraged to invest in their properties to continue to keep them up to that standard. There is one item of local control that we have. That item of local control is if you're a contributing structure, your property would be added to a contributing structures list that is kept up to date by the city. And essentially what it does is it restricts the property from being demolished or moved without the approval of the Historic Preservation Board. So that's really the quick summary of the historic district, what it is. We would like to hear comments from the members of the public and the residents within as to any concerns. This public hearing is intended to be just the collection of comments. At the end, we do expect to not technically close the public hearing, but we do expect to continue this to a later date because we need to do some additional evaluation on the signatures that we have received regarding support to be in the district. So with that, I just want to close my comment and just give that staff report so members of the public had some additional information. Thank you.
Thank you, Charles. And welcome to Millward. So does anybody have any questions for Charles? Board members or public? Well, so presumably, the next steps from here would be that at the June 8th meeting, the board would vote to send this on to City Council for their review and approval. And then from there on, presuming it passes on to the county clerks, and then onward and upward to the State Historic Preservation Office after that. Does any of the board members have any comments in general about the district expansion?
Do we have to get enough signatures back before it goes to city council, or
50%.
what was
50%. And that's
how many do we have?
Chair, through you,
yes.
if I could make a comment. For the record, Sam Crowley with the Planning and Development Department. David, we have signatures from the 2019, when we did this in 2019, and we also have signatures from now. The signatures that we've received so far from this time around, we have 21 signatures thus far, and we're going through and comparing to the 2019 signatures to see if property ownership has changed. But ideally, we would be able to get back the full 50% now. So we're going to leave the public hearing open so that we can collect those signatures still and continue tallying them up and make sure that we have everything correct. Because we just want to make sure that we're doing everything absolutely correct this time. So the public hearing would remain open until our next board meeting, which is when then the board could discuss and make a motion to send this on to city council. But for the public hearing to remain open, they wouldn't do that in this meeting.
Are we considering those signatures that were previously collected in 19 to be valid?
That was the original thought. I think that we're going to have some discussion about it at the planning department. Charles, if you want to take that question.
Chair, if I may, Charles Wynn, Planning and Development Director, for the record. Yes, we were utilizing the previous collected signatures from 2019, since we're still utilizing the previous completed architectural survey. So we just were looking through the documents today and decided that we needed to spend a little bit of extra time before starting that 30-day shot clock, if you will, where we're supposed to forward on an item to the city council. So this gives us another couple of weeks just to make sure all of the I's are crossed, or the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed, so we can verify that we do have the 50% of those owners. But we believe we do because with the 2018 records, for it to move forward, it would have had to meet that threshold.
Okay. Yeah, don't cross those I's or we have to do this all over again. Nobody wants that. All right. Well, do we have any comments from the public at this time? Anything at all? I will throw it back to the board if they have any more questions or comments at this time.
Once it's been, once this process is over, assuming that everything gets approved, obviously, and we talked about this a little bit earlier, but love to see how we're going to make sure we've got good interpretation, good signage, good ability to really talk about this expanded area and what's significant about it historically.
You know, and we, on the last expansion, we didn't do a whole lot after that expansion happened. I believe, and I don't know if it happened yet with this one, but we have tried to provide copies of the site forms of each property to that particular landowner for their residents, just so that they had it. That's something, if it hasn't happened, I think that's something we can do again on this one. With, we'll have to discuss it at the June meeting, but if we have some funds left over from our work on the fountain and other things this year, we could potentially pay for some signs, maybe do some better signage in the Capital North District and maybe the other districts in general, make them a little more prominent. Yeah, but yeah, we haven't done much in the way of signage in the past. And I think that's largely funding. All our money has been tied up in other things at the time. So
Sure.
Is it
Well-
normal for the board to pay? This is David. Is it normal for the board to pay for those little, I think they're brown signs I see in some of the neighborhoods? Does the board do that, or does the city pay for that? You know, the ones that just say historic district.
Sarah, through you, I can answer that.
Sam,
Sam Crowley with the Planning and Development Department. David, I just looked at the code. It says that the board will design the signs. Charles, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe the city pays for the signs.
you must be distracted.
Well, yeah, he's meeting, so I
Yeah.
can share that, David, but I think that the city pays for it, but the board, it's in the code that the board, it's one of the last steps for this process that we would probably come up with the language and design of the sign. That part's up to you guys, but I think that the city pays for it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess in terms of interpretive signs, I hadn't thought about that, but I was thinking more in terms of the general historic district, brown historic district signs, or the National Register placards that you see on some of the buildings.
Yeah, I'll look into who pays for those things and we can talk about it at our next meeting.
Well, as Sam said, for purposes of signature collecting, the public meeting will formally remain open until we convene for the June 8th board meeting, which time we will formally close the public hearing and vote on sending this to City Council for their review and subsequent hopeful approval. If anybody from the public would like to make a comment, they are certainly welcome to email Sam or myself. I'm presuming, Sam, you're collecting comments. Okay. And I think her information was in the press release. So I guess at this time, if anybody at all has any comments in general, public or board, questions, comments, concerns, now's the time. No? Okay. And the other items that had to be removed from this agenda, we'll try and discuss them at the June meeting in due course on that agenda. So I guess if there's nothing else tonight, we'll go ahead and I guess pause the meeting. Oh, Charles, yeah.
If I may assist, I believe what would be appropriate is if we have a motion to continue the public hearing to, and if that next meeting is June 8th, we'll continue it June 8th, and then we'll need a second and a vote by the Preservation Board. And that will preserve continuity of the notice and the public hearing that was held. Any member of the public that is on this call or one that appears at the next meeting would be able to comment at that time as well.
Thank you, Charles. Someone want to make said motion?
This is John, also move.
Do we have a second?
This is Don, I'll second.
All right, motion by John, seconded by Don to continue this meeting, the public hearing at our June 8th regular meeting. Discussion?
But will the June meeting be in person or Zoom still?
June 8th will be a hybrid meeting,
Hybrid.
whatever you are comfortable with. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Aye.
Opposed? All right, see you all June 8th. Good night.
Thanks, everyone.
Good night.